Hey guys, it's Laura, and I have another great art project for you. This week we're going to be working on doing work that's inspired by Jackson Pollock. Just like the artist that we did last week, Rothko, he too was part of the abstract impressionists in New York at the same time as Rothko. And remember what abstract and expressionists mean? Abstract means that it's not a concrete, realistic image, right? It's abstract. And expressionism means you're expressing yourself. You're expressing your emotions. You're expressing anger or sadness or happiness, right? Okay, and for this, I'm going to demonstrate several different techniques that you can use to do this. Jackson Pollock, the way he liked to do his work would be to lay a big canvas on the floor and tack it down, and then he would walk around his canvas. And one of the things that he really liked about that is that he felt it allowed him to become an action painter, right? That there was a lot of movement and expression of that movement in his work. He also loved listening to jazz while he worked. He found jazz to be very inspiring, and if you want to check out some jazz while you work on your projects, I totally encourage you to do that. I love listening to Oscar Peterson, so you can always ask Alexa to play some Oscar Peterson jazz music for you. And of course your parents would probably know lots of other jazz artists. And so he liked walking around. I'm not going to walk around. I actually have everything contained in a box, and I put my paper inside the box. And I also have this spinny thing so I can move it around. And he did use paintbrushes, but not in the way that traditional artists use paintbrushes. So, and then in the end, he really just started using anything he could find to help create the patterns and the texture and the movement. So he used a lot of different tools. I'm going to show you one easy way would be to have a little squirt bottle. The wind's kicking up. And you can see that there's just a little hole. You could use like a water bottle, and you could hold it above the paper and squirt it out. Or if you didn't have something like a water bottle or a squirt bottle like this, you could also just simply put it into a little Ziploc bag, the paint, and then very carefully, because you wouldn't want a big hole, you want a little tiny hole. You would want to just, ooh, it also makes a great sound. And if your parents are like, whoa, Laura, this is just way too messy. We can't do something this messy at our home. Don't worry, there's another option where you could get like a clothespin or a paper clip, something to hold a string like this. And it could be any kind of string. It could be like yarn, or this is just kitchen twine. And in that case, then you would just have little, you could fill up like an egg carton full of different colors of paints, and you'd put the rope, the string into the paint, and then you would hold it by the paper clip so you don't get messy, and then you could just lay it down all over the paper. So that's another option that you could do if you don't like splattering. But remember, I like to get messy, and I think it's fun to be expressive with your paint and your different techniques. So I'm going to use some popsicle sticks. I also thought it might be kind of fun to use a plastic fork. only because I want to see what happens when paint is dripping off of all 4 of these prongs. And then I also have an old toothbrush, and I think I might put the paint in there and rub the bristles like that and watch it splatter around. So let's get started. Let's start creating a Jackson Pollock inspired piece of art. So you can see what happened just now. The lighter color here is the one with the string. Let's see what happens when I just use a toothpick. Not a toothpick, sorry. A popsicle stick. And we drip it, and I'm going to shake it a little bit. And see, when the paper's inside of a box, it's not nearly as messy as you think it might be. But I think if I was doing this at home with my young kids, I think putting a big poster on the ground outside on the grass, and maybe a couple of chairs so you could drop it from different heights. Wouldn't that be fun to see what happens when you drop it from way up high versus really low? And you have to keep moving your dripping around. So let's try another color, because we got to have more colors. And this time, let's check out what happens when we use that plastic fork. What do you think is going to happen? Do you think it will drop off of all 4 or just one big one? Oh, it looks like it's just, I don't know if you can see my fork, but, well, there's a couple lines of paint. But on the whole, the paint really is forming one line of paint. But that was a good little experiment. What happens if I start to tap with my finger? Kind of get more like a confetti look to the paint, right? When you tap, tap, tap. Another way of tapping would be to hold your hand and kind of pat the hand with the other hand. You could also just use a pencil to get your creation, your drips. And let's see. How about that old toothbrush? Let's see what happens with that. Okay, I'm going to put that in here. I'm just using old paint samples from the hardware store. I think if I had young kids doing this, and I was using house paints, I might, you have to almost get right on top of the paper to get the little splatters, the little confettis of paint off of the toothbrush. Don't know if you can see this corner, but they're very tiny, tiny, tiny little dots, which I think is interesting because it's helpful when you're working on a composition to look at the whole picture and step back. And when you have details that some are big and some are small, it adds a lot more interest to your composition and a lot more movement. So let's go back. So far, I think I really enjoy the popsicle stick, but it's been good to do a little experimenting. Ooh, get a good drip here. Just drizzle around. Ooh. The other thing that Jackson Pollock talks about when he was working on it, he would say that he would be drawing in the air, that his drawing was taking place, many feet off the ground. He would be drawing. So maybe right now I'm going to think of a bunny rabbit. I don't know why I just thought of that. I'm going to do a bunny rabbit ear here, another bunny rabbit ear. Now I'm going to do the head, and now I'm going to do the body, and I want a nice cottontail over here. So, or let's say now I want to think of, what do we want to think? Oh, a roller coaster. Ooh, yeah, it's going to roll way up high, And now it's going to dip down, dip down, dip down. And then it's going to go back up, back up, back up, high, high, high. And then all the people are rolling down and going, ah! See? See how you can create movement, show motion in your paints? You can have so much fun with this. I also like to play around with colors that are, some that are lighter and some that are darker. I always think it's important that if you have a white canvas, to add a little bit of black too, for dynamics. What else should I think about drawing? Oh, I think I want a flower. I'm going to draw in the air above my paper a flower. There's my stem. Here's the face of the flower. Here's some petals. Oh, and I think I see a piece of grass over here. And now, oh, I think I see a bumblebee starting way over here and buzzing around. And now it's going to buzz and get some nectar from this flower right there. Yay. Oh, and I think over here we need another flower. There's the stem, there's the face, another petal. Excellent. Well, I hope you had fun. I hope you guys have fun with this project. Just in the few minutes that I've been with you, I've had a lot. Oh my goodness! And now look what happens when I pick it up and it starts to roll down one side. Maybe that would be another technique that we could do, right? Is allowing gravity to work on our paint. Well, I hope you guys have a lot of fun with this project. There's different ways of doing it. You could do a banana split Pollock style with chocolate syrup and then put some caramel syrup, right? You could have fun, or food coloring on bread. That could be a lot of fun. That could be your Jackson Pollock inspired sandwich bread that you could make. But I hope you have a good time. Enjoy this process. Be outdoors and express yourself and enjoy. Take care, and thanks for Zooming with me today, and I'll see you next week. Bye.